This is IFV, the web space with your dose of business and financial news. In full view, we're making your business our business.
Welcome to In Full View. I'm Marcella Palmer, bringing you the week's medium and small business news. This week, we're talking to entrepreneur, speaker, author, and black belt Jim Bouchard, a man who turned his murky path gold by applying ancient practices he learned through martial arts. He shares his black belt mindset philosophy in his book, Think Like a Black Belt.
You've been through so much. Who was Jim Bouchard yesterday, and who is he today?
Well, you know, it's funny because when I do live presentations, the general introduction they give is, here's Jim Bouchard, a two-time college dropout and former drug abuser, right? Which is a great resume when you're talking to a business crowd. But what's interesting is that because I was able to overcome that and then become an entrepreneur and go out and do the speaking circuit, usually when I say that, I'm honest about it, other people in the room identify with that. And sometimes it's surprising, right? I mean, people that are in the C-suite. And, you know, it touches something with them. So that's who I was before. Martial arts was really part of the journey, you know, to escape that kind of life and put things back on track. I started martial arts when I was 25. And it was interesting to start it as an adult, although a very young adult. Because, you know, did it help me get out of that? Yeah, really what it did, and this is where it's so applicable to business life, it helped me do two things. It developed a sense of awareness, self-awareness, right? That I learned the process of looking at myself and then deciding, as you said, you know, where do I want to go from here? I believe all life, but particularly in business, is a process. It's a never-ending process of perfection. If you stay still in business, what happens? So the more you're willing to embrace that constant sense of self-perfection, that's going to be profitable to you, you know, personally as well as financially. But more important, it also helped me develop a sense of self-worth and self-valuation. Okay. The key component I talk about is discipline. That's what it really comes down to, right? You have to learn to discipline yourself. You have to learn to develop the habits you need to get where you want to go. But underlying that is that sense that you need to know that, you know, what you do has a sense of purpose and value, and not just in your own life, but for other people's lives as well. Because my main message, as far as, you know, talking with business folks, is, hey, we can survive anything, right? This wonderful recession, this global economic collapse. We can get through it, but the people who are going to help us get through it are people who are visionary and not necessarily on the genius level, top tier academic, right? It's people like you and I, especially the entrepreneurs. We're the problem solvers, right? We're going to have the boots on the ground, and we're going to figure out what can we do to make life a little bit better? What can we do to innovate, right? And we're nimble enough to do it, and that's where the solutions to all these problems are. Any level of business, perfection is not a destination. It's a never-ending process.
Talk to us about that. How have you applied that? How should entrepreneurs be applying that?
That's the greatest gift the martial arts life ever gave to me, was to be able to put together that little fortune cookie, I call it, you know, a little bit of philosophy. Buzzwords for business these days, and they're easy to talk about. Innovation, creativity, responsiveness, right? Well, they're just words unless you're willing to make that completely a part of your being, see? And again, it has to be at all levels. That person on the front line may be the person that comes up with the next great innovation that moves your company forward, right? On the other hand, the folks in charge have to be able to communicate that sense of enthusiasm and spirit for an innovation, because people resist change, you see. So yeah, the wise old Asian philosophers, they knew, and they came up with this idea that it got translated badly. Perfection's not a noun, see, in martial arts philosophy. It's a verb. It's not a place you're going to. It's not a certain amount of money you're going to make. It's not a certain person you're going to meet and spend the rest of your life with. It's a constant, ongoing process, you see. And that's really where innovation comes from. Innovation, it just doesn't come from suddenly out of nowhere you get a brilliant idea. You know, those brilliant ideas, you talk to folks that are really, truly innovators in business and in science, they're always engaged in that process. They practice it. You know, either consciously or sometimes not as consciously, but they're always, they're always processing things, and they're curious, and they approach the world with a sense of wonder. That's what that philosophy is meant to teach us. But the last part of that is enjoy it.
Can you describe in short the three major areas of becoming a black belt mindset master?
You want to be the black belt mindset master, yeah. Actually, the first part of it is perfection, right? And we just talked about that in detail, so that, there's that. Although sometimes people say, shouldn't that be the end? But now you see, no, it's the beginning and the middle and the end, right? Second part is confidence. And we do a lot of work with sales folks, right? There's lots of systems to sell, that's fine. But one person can follow the system and not sell a darn thing. The other person's barely paying attention. Confidence and charisma are two main characteristics that help people become successful. And I'm saying we can work on that. We can improve that. So confidence. And that's really what produces your sense of value in the world, to yourself and to others. Then you move on to the idea that that needs to be shared. So the third one is leadership. And that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about leadership. It's not dictatorship. It's not control, right? It's about sharing the qualities and the gifts and the experience and the wisdom that you have, and that's how your power expands, whether it's one-on-one or in business, right? Without sharing, it's very difficult.
How do we stunt our own growth on the path of mindset mastery? How do you stop getting in your own way?
How do you stop getting in your own way? Yeah, well, a lot of it is you've got to change the signals you're giving yourself, right? It's so easy to buy into the negativity. And it's natural. I'm not the nicey motivational guy, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty blunt about it. It's not just a matter of doing affirmations in a mirror or saying nice things to yourself and conditioning yourself that way. You can buy programs that'll help you do that if you want to. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's understanding that the world is a tough place, right? And that's where the idea of the black belt mindset comes in, right? It's tough to be a black belt. It's tough to become a black belt. It's tough to get in the ring and be a fighter, right? But it's also beautiful. That's where all the, when you face something that's really tough, that's where the real rewards are, right? The best rewards. So it's a matter of turning off that negativity that's all around you that's keeping you out of the ring. And that's the most of it. I'm not guaranteeing anybody's going to win, you see. All I guarantee is if you think this way, you'll get in the fight. You'll have the confidence to get in the fight. And you'll have the confidence to get up after you're knocked down. That's what successful people do. I'm going to be brash about this, but I can define success. A lot of people, I don't know, your idea of success is different than mine. No, I know this to be true. Success is a product of having enough, abundance, in three major areas of your life, in material, spiritual, and emotional. Now here's the trick. How much is enough is different for each of us, right? And that's where I won't knock somebody if somebody's flipping burgers and making a decent living doing that. They're playing guitar on the weekends and they're having a great time and they have a nice family, then they're successful. That person's successful, and I would never pretend to change that person. But you do have to have that sense of enough. A lot of times I think in business and finance, and maybe that's where our next book coming out is Full Contact Ethics, and we just had Bernie Madoff on the news again, right? Now you talk about somebody who does not have spiritual fulfillment, right? And that's why I think sometimes we see that iconic story, the proverbial story of somebody who has a lot of money but isn't happy, isn't satisfied. It's because they're missing something emotionally and spiritually, and maybe both. And I can tell you that type of poverty is worse than the financial one. It really is.
That's all for this week from the IFV News team. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check back every day right here at ifvnews.com for the latest on what's happening around the globe in the medium and small business world.